Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news where we talk about all the latest Manchester United transfer news and give it that real fan opinion. And it's busy because it should be, because it is the last week before we go on the tour. So I want United to be busy, and I've had to change things around because Jadon Sancho is the big story today or this morning or last night. Santander, musical artist, Manchester United extraordinaire. Rocking it at Glastonbury. Last night he was rocking it with Jadon Sancho. There was a few videos going out saying what's next, you know, what's next. Is Jadon Sancho to Manchester United next? Is Santander the director of football at Manchester United we all want? I think he probably is. He knows his stuff, he knows the players we need, but it doesn't mean we're going to sign him, unfortunately, because we've got recruiters who've not been that good over the last 6 years. But it's encouraging, and you know what, this backs up what we've been speaking about, what I heard back in March about Bruno Fernandes and Jadon Sancho, and a lot of people have reported it in April as well, in May. There was an interest from Jadon Sancho to come to Manchester United, and the Champions League failure sort of stopped that. I don't know whether United backed out of it because he was too expensive and they didn't have the Champions League. I don't know whether Jadon Sancho didn't want to come because of stability issues and Europa League. I mean, you know, for me, I think come to Manchester United if you want to come to United and be the player that gets us into the Champions League. But that's too simplistic. We don't know that. I think he is a player that, you know, if we'd been in the Champions League, it'd be very interesting. I think he would come to United. Can he still come to Manchester United? Anything can happen. Of course it can. I don't think it is. I don't think it's going to happen. I'd say it would be as low as 20% out of 100% chance of him coming. United definitely wanted to do the deal, but I think that's changed. But Santander's a big United fan. Jadon Sancho's with him. Maybe something can happen with it. I mean, look, to be honest with you, he's perfect for what we need. We need a right winger. I heard some people saying, we don't want a player like that. But look at him, he's just like Lingard. He likes Lingard. It would just be the banter gang off the field. But if he came to Manchester United and he became... The issue with Jesse Lingard is not what he does off the pitch. I know it irritates people. It irritates me because I'm just not that person. You know, he acts like a kid and the kids love it. That's not the issue with Jesse Lingard. It's what he does on the pitch. He doesn't perform on the pitch. So it's not about whether he acts like an idiot or whether he acts cool or whatever. That's by the by. It's what he does on the pitch. So Jadon Sancho could come to Manchester United and act like that, but if he does what he does on the pitch for Dortmund, it doesn't matter. So I would love him to come to United. I just don't think it's going to happen. But, you know, maybe a little bit of publicity, maybe a little bit of a nudge. Maybe Manchester United might do something about it. But we do need a right winger. We definitely need a right winger. I want to just focus on banter for a minute, not Lingard. I want to talk about Arsenal. So Manchester United last week signed Aaron Wan-Bissaka, a very good right back, for £50 million. Crystal Palace's best player is Wilfried Zaha. And attackers are worth more than defenders. That's the way of the world. So Arsenal want to sign Zaha. Zaha apparently wants to go to Arsenal. We've just, literally, the ink is not even dry on the contract for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, where we bought their right back for £50 million. What do you think Arsenal have supposedly offered for Wilfried Zaha, considering we paid £50 million for the right back who's not even their best player and he's a defender? You've guessed it. They've gone lower. Good old Arsenal, they've offered 40 million. I mean, look, he's worth 80 million if we've paid 50 million for Wan-Bissaka. He's probably worth 60 to 70, really. But that's Arsenal for you. But the interesting thing is, even if they got Zaha for 40 million, which they won't, we'd get 10 million of that because we get 25%. We've still got that clause. So it's very interesting to watch what happens with Zaha this summer because we could be getting ourselves a little bit of money out of that as well. And does it strengthen what we were talking about last week? Apparently Arsenal have only got about 10 million and a few Amazon vouchers for their transfer budget anyway. So if they need to generate money, will they sell Aubameyang? Would Aubameyang be an interesting point for Manchester United? Ben Yedder seems to be the player at the moment. Sevilla have just brought a player called De Jong in, who's not quite a like for like, but people are getting excited about Ben Yedder coming to United. I still don't believe it. I still don't believe we're going to get Ben Yedder. I just think it's going to be one of those which you get experience with. We all do. Every summer there'll be a big, we're going to sign that player for a couple of days, and then it'll go quiet. And I just suspect that might be the case with Ben Yedder. But I would like us to sign him, but we'll have to wait and see. But the right wing is the position we really need to solve. A lot of you have spoken about Ziyech. So I just wanted to give you an update on Ziyech because I think a lot of people want Manchester United to sign Ziyech from Ajax. 26, fantastic season for Ajax. He's got goals, he's got assists, he's quick, he can play the press. So he'd be perfect for Manchester United. And apparently he's available for £25 million. Why are United not linked to him? I do not know. There are no strong connections between Manchester United and Ziyech. The clubs in England that have got connections to him or links to him are Liverpool and Arsenal, funnily enough. I don't know where Arsenal are going to get the money for that, unless they're going to pay an IOU post-it stamps. I don't know. But he is currently playing in the AFCON. So he's playing for Morocco, I believe, at the moment, in the AFCON, as I call it, African Cup of Nations. So that's why there is no real development with him at the moment, because he's focused on that, and that this could be a deal that happens later on in the month. So whether Manchester United will enter the deal later on in the month, I don't know. But, for the price, for the ability, he's better than what we've got. He would be an interesting one. We just don't appear to be linked to him, so I wouldn't get your hopes up on that. Although, as is the case with many of the comments on the United stand over the last few years, there are better scouts in the United stand community than there are at Manchester United. Fabinho was one that we spoke about for years and years and years. We didn't get him. We got Matic instead. Liverpool got Fabinho, and he's the perfect CDM for what we needed. But there you go. Our scouting is apparently the best in the world. But another player that we've been on about for years on this channel is Hirving Lozano, who is another option we could play on the right wing, who is available for £40 million. PSV are linked to, I think it's a winger from RP Leipzig. I think his name is Bruma, as a replacement for Lozano, which means that Lozano will go to Napoli for £40 million, apparently, although Napoli may still get James Rodriguez, who has been part of the AFCON, but I think Colombia are out now, so maybe that can be done. The issue with Hirving Lozano is not that he's playing in the Gold Cup with Mexico. He didn't do that. He got a bad injury at the end of the season, and that injury is probably going to be problematic for anywhere he goes. I don't know the update with his injury. I personally think his injury is probably going to be back in training soon, because Napoli seem very interested, but again, not a lot from United, even though I think he ticks so many boxes. He's only 23, very, very good player, Mexican, hard work rate, but creative and got lots of flair. 40 million quid. What's not to like? I think, again, we talk about like bringing young players into the Manchester United Football Club, and they're going to be impressionable. They're going to look at the senior players and they're going to be influenced by them probably. There's not a lot of players that you want them to be influenced by, which is why it's important that we bring in some professional-minded players with some experience in the game. Hirving Lozano, Ziyech, these are the sort of players that you want to bring into that. So, look, are United going to sign a right winger? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know whether we will or we won't. But there's some very good options out there. I mean, we've spoken about Sancho. Obviously, that's the expensive option. But Ziyech, Hirving Lozano, there are others as well. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Just let me mention Lo Celso. He is obviously part of the Copa America at the moment. I hope I didn't call that the AFCON earlier. The Copa America is something very different. It occurs in the South America. Semi-final against Brazil tomorrow, I think, or maybe it's late tonight. I don't know. I think he's played nearly every game for Argentina. Heavily linked to Spurs, Lo Celso. And where's this coming from? It's coming from Marca via Sport Witness, that United are interested. Apparently Spurs have offered quite low money. Where does he play? Does he play for Real Betis, Lo Celso? I've forgotten the club that he plays for. I think it is Real Betis. Anyway, he very, very good midfielder. Not a lot of people will know a lot about him, but he's got everything. Box to box, can be creative. He's played in a lot of positions in his career, got goals in him, got the tenacity in him. He would be a very, very good signing. I think he's going to go to Spurs, though, because United, even in that article, it looks like United are being mentioned to bump the price up. Like, Betis are trying to get a bit of a bidding war going. If United are in for him, well, look, we have been tentatively linked to him for quite a while, but it doesn't feel like we're really in for him. I think United's midfield options at the moment really look like they're Bruno Fernandes and Longstaff, and if Pogba goes, maybe we'd look at other players, but it looks like Bruno Fernandes and Longstaff for United. I don't really see Lo Celso being a player that United would look at. Yawn in the morning. Anyway, I'm tired, you see. But there was an interesting story in the Gazzetta dello Sport as we move to Italy for a moment. Very interesting two stories here. Gazzetta dello Sport basically saying that Icardi doesn't want to move to the Premier League and doesn't want to move to Manchester United despite being offered as part of a Lukaku deal. So it may not be that United are rejecting him, maybe we don't want him, but it looks like he doesn't want to come here as well, doesn't want to go to the Premier League, wants to stay in Italy. Option would be Juventus, but Juventus have got Higuain and they need to move him off. So why does that affect Manchester United? Well, one, we can't do the Icardi swap. Two, they need to sell Icardi to get some money to sign Lukaku. So that's quite interesting in itself. Keep your eye on that. Another interesting story from Italy in relation to Inter is that Nicola Pepe, apparently his ideal choice would be Inter Milan or Liverpool. Well, how are Inter Milan getting money for that? If I want Nicola Pepe anyway, so yeah, come to us. And Manolas is officially now a Napoli player. That was announced yesterday. So July the 1st yesterday, you got Rabiot obviously confirmed to Juventus, and Manolas was confirmed. His release clause obviously kicked in yesterday, July the 1st. He's gone to Napoli. Does that mean Koulibaly becomes available? I don't know. I would like to think so, but I don't know. But he would be the centre-back that I would be looking for at Manchester United. Very, very quickly, Ziyech was odds on to go to Sevilla, but apparently he's turned Sevilla down. So Ziyech is still on the equation for anybody who's interested about that one. Icardi, Lo Celso, Ziyech, Zaha, Lozano, Sancho. We've spoken about De Gea. Contract £350,000 a week. That is still on the board. Look, second day of training for Manchester United today. We need to start seeing some. We need to start. My head's going. My head's disappeared. My camera's too low. We need to start seeing some business this week. We do. We need to start seeing today. Monday, okay, it's the first day back. Rashford got announced. I think every day this week for United, something's got to happen. Whether it's a big development on a signing, a big development on a player going, but we've got to see something. All right, Rashford yesterday, it was the first day back. Great. Let's move on from that. He's staying. Good. Good news. Maybe I would have left that till August, but it's good news. Today we need to see something. You know, I expect to be going live again at lunchtime. I don't want to be waiting till 8 o'clock to go live. I expect to be going live again at lunchtime or early afternoon with a big development for United. We do need a big development. That's the way this week's got to go. We're jumping on a plane on Sunday morning to fly out to Australia. We've got 5/6 days left. 5 days really, haven't we? We've got 5 days left. It's scary, I know, but we don't normally do deals when we're on tour. So doesn't mean we can't. We'll have to break the mould a little bit. That can be done, but we can't be wasting this time. The reality is Bruno Fernandes is going back for pre-season training with Sporting Lisbon this week. Sean Longstaff, I think, is injured, you know. I'm sure Sean Longstaff, but a lot of players are back in training now. There's no reason to be messing about. You can't waste a week. All right, we signed Wan-Bissaka. We took 3 weeks to do that. We can't waste this week. We've got to bring some players in. Anyway, get your comments in below. What do you think about everyone we've spoken about? Do you think Sancho's realistic this summer? I think it's more likely next summer. What about Ziyech or Lozano, Lo Celso, Icardi, Koulibaly? Deals this week. How are you feeling? Do you think we're going to do any? Do you think we're going to do none? Do you think we're going to go on the plane empty-handed? Get your comments in below, smash a like on the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will speak to you hopefully very soon. I want to go live again, but if not, 8 o'clock tonight. Thanks for watching.